I had no idea, which probably sounds difficult to understand here, but when I first met my now husband, my friends were really happy because I was so happy, but my British friend said to me, "I'm sure he's great."
The glittering facade of Meghan Markle's latest media venture, Confessions of a Female Founder, has seemingly crumbled, revealing a spectacle of tears, strategic emotional appeals, and a shocking alleged rebuke from one of Hollywood's titans. What was meant to be her grand return, her moment of reinvention, has instead spiraled into a full-blown public relations nightmare. This isn't just about a podcast. It's about a carefully constructed image facing an unexpected, powerful challenge.
We saw you guys, which was great, but no, we wanted to do something fun for the kids, and then the kids were just not into it. I really wanted to relearn French. I had studied it for the 4 years in high school, and then it just went away. So after those two things, if we do turn on the TV, which is fairly rare, I think we're like most people where you just do endless searching until you get so tired of searching you don't watch anything. No, but there are a couple, there's some incredible shows on at the moment, and I think really watching great storytelling, there's nothing like it.
How did a project designed for empowerment become a source of such intense controversy and public scorn? The whispers have turned into a roar, and it all began with a stunning disavowal from an unlikely figure. Yes, you heard that right. Leonardo DiCaprio, a man known for his meticulous choices and dedication to environmental causes, has reportedly distanced himself from Meghan Markle. This wasn't a quiet retreat either. Industry insiders are buzzing with claims that DiCaprio labeled the podcast manipulative brand-first feminism, and that's the toned-down version. This alleged disapproval sent shockwaves through the industry. Imagine the king of subtle influence, a man who rarely speaks unless it's to champion a global cause, making such a strong, albeit indirect, statement. It's a move that speaks volumes in a town where silence can be louder than any press release.
I didn't know much about him, and so the only thing that I had asked her when she said she wanted to set us up was, I had one question. I said, well, is he nice? Because if he wasn't kind, it didn't seem like it would make sense. And so we went and met for a drink, and then I think very quickly into that we said, well, what are we doing tomorrow? We should meet again.
I think the simplest thing that anyone watching that...
The very idea that such a figure would step back from anything connected to Meghan's new enterprise raised immediate questions about its true nature and intentions. When Meghan Markle first unveiled her new lifestyle brand and its accompanying podcast, the announcement arrived like a perfectly curated gift. The branding was elegant, drenched in soft pastel hues, and the messaging overflowed with buzzwords: empowerment, vulnerability, authenticity. It seemed designed to arm the modern woman with a metaphorical torch to navigate boardrooms and life's complexities. The packaging was flawless, promising a beacon of female solidarity and wisdom. Yet beneath the glossy exterior, many quickly found the box felt empty or worse, stuffed with recycled self-help rhetoric and superficial feminist concepts.
Or anyone who's able to make change, to look at it through the lens of, what if it was my daughter? What if it was my son? My son or my daughter who comes home, who are joyful, who I love, and one day, right under my roof, our entire lives change because of something that was completely out of our control.
It became evident from the first promotional clip that this wasn't about breaking new ground. This was about building brand Meghan, specifically Meghan 3.0, the polished empath aiming for the impact of a modern-day Oprah, but without the earned wisdom or generational legacy. The debut episode, featuring cosmetics mogul Jamie Kern-Lima, set an unexpectedly low bar. Lima's story was a compelling rags-to-riches narrative, a struggling waitress who defied odds to build a million-dollar empire, overcoming rejection and industry bias. Her journey should have electrified listeners. Instead, the episode felt less like a genuine conversation and more like a dramatized TED Talk combined with a Pantene commercial. The discussion veered away from business strategy and barriers broken, transforming into a tearful duet. Meghan, with an almost theatrical delicacy, seemed to guide the conversation toward a self-centered narrative, mirroring emotions and subtly linking each anecdote back to her own experiences.
We saw you guys, which was great, but no, we wanted to do something fun for the kids, and then the kids were just not into it at all. Archie was a dinosaur for maybe 5 minutes.
Not even 5 minutes.
Not even 5 minutes.
Finally, Harry talked him into putting the head on. But Lily was a skunk.
She was a little skunk.
It was so cute.
I know, like Flower from Bambi.
It quickly became clear that the spotlight wasn't on the guests' achievements, but on Meghan's perceived role as a fellow traveler in trauma. The conversation quickly devolved into a montage of women crying in bathrooms, at desks, and in cars, all while the vague concept of empowerment supposedly unfolded in the background. Many listeners felt they were being sold an emotion, a highly produced and engineered version of vulnerability, wrapped in inspirational cliches. It didn't feel empowering. It felt exhausting. Even the editing seemed designed to trigger emotional responses, gentle piano swells, prolonged pauses, and strained voice cracks. This wasn't a dialogue. It was a performance, crafted not for the audience's benefit but for optics, for the brand. Marketing analysts bluntly stated it wasn't storytelling, but sentimentality in service of self-promotion. Critics pointed out Meghan consistently positioned herself as a co-hero in every guest's journey, always subtly ensuring she remained the star. This narrative hollowness, disguised as emotional depth, became a major point of contention. Jamie Kern-Lima's legitimate accomplishments were seemingly used not to highlight her journey, but as a mirror for Meghan to reflect her own curated image. It was trauma-adjacent, empathy-adjacent, empowerment-adjacent, but ultimately far from authentic.
I had no idea, which probably sounds difficult to understand here, but when I first met my now husband, my friends were really happy because I was so happy, but my British friends said to me, "I'm sure he's great."
True vulnerability, critics argued, is rooted in honesty, not choreographed, and certainly not edited to sound like a Hallmark advertisement crossed with a Harvard Business Review article. In Meghan's podcast, however, vulnerability seemed to be a calculated tool, a strategic brand choice designed to signal relatability while maintaining absolute control over the narrative. Instead of genuine inspiration, listeners received a syrupy monologue about boardroom tears and vague horrors of being underestimated. The real bombshell, however, wasn't just the content, but the aftermath. Whispers soon turned to shouts as news leaked that Leonardo DiCaprio had reportedly distanced himself from the project. His team was allegedly caught off guard when his name appeared in early promotional materials for As Ever, even hinting at a future conversation between him and Meghan that never materialized. Whether it was a misunderstanding or a strategic name drop, the outcome was swift. Leo's people reportedly moved quickly to shut it down, ensuring his name was pulled from all mentions. The vague implication that the Oscar-winning actor endorsed Meghan's new media direction vanished like smoke. This wasn't merely about Leo, it was about what he represented. A-list credibility, a green light that Meghan's venture was legitimate, not just another vanity project draped in floral branding. This quiet yet impactful disengagement from DiCaprio fueled a powerful whisper network in Hollywood. In a town built on access and trust, name-dropping without explicit permission isn't just uncouth, it's a dangerous signal of desperation. Leo's subtle non-presence became a form of commentary, solidifying the impression that Meghan was preemptively associating herself with icons she hadn't genuinely collaborated with. Names like Oprah, Serena Williams, and Beyoncé have often been linked to Meghan's projects with just enough ambiguity to blur the lines between casual association and concrete alliance. Online social media erupted with speculation, with phrases like Hollywood grifting trending, not from tabloids, but from industry professionals. They argued it was a strategic overreach, an attempt to borrow status instead of earning it, and in Meghan's case, it backfired dramatically. The perceived lack of authenticity began to chip away at audience trust. What was once seen as vulnerable now felt meticulously calculated. The podcast episode with Jamie Kern-Lima, with its gentle piano music, tearful revelations, and carefully curated relatability, struck many listeners as a performance designed to sell not just a product, but a feeling. On platforms like TikTok and X, formerly Twitter, even casual fans voiced their fatigue. One user posted, "I wanted to root for her, but it's like she's always trying to go viral on LinkedIn." Another dubbed it emotional MLM content dressed in Duchess silk. This wasn't just about content. It was about trust. Meghan's ability to make global audiences feel like insiders to her pain, once her greatest strength, began to ring hollow. Audiences weren't rejecting her message, but they were questioning the messenger. In the wake of the Spotify exit and the alleged DiCaprio incident, Meghan's media strategy appears to be stuck. Sources at Spotify reportedly feared another round of faux deep storytelling lacking structure and strategy. A senior Audible executive allegedly called her pitch the worst first impression in podcast history. Meanwhile, prominent women in media are quietly distancing themselves, fearing association with a brand perceived as complicit in exploitative storytelling. And then there's Prince Harry. Once the fiery heartbeat of their joint rebrand, he's now conspicuously silent, absent from rollouts, missing from the message. No podcast cameos, no voiceover teasers, just static. Sources say Harry has grown increasingly uneasy with the tone of Meghan's ventures, especially those painting her as a singular victim. His silence speaks volumes, suggesting retreat, perhaps even regret. In an ecosystem where absence is loudly political,